Good morning and welcome to the Wallet to Wealth Female Entrepreneur Series. And in support of Halton Women's Place, From Wallet to Wealth is a brand created to speak to women to help mentor, educate, and inspire women to living and leading empowered lives. In 2020, we did 6 live events and then the big Wallet to Wealth Speaker Gala, where we raised $32,000 for Halton Women's Place and gave out over $6,000 in prizes. We are now rolling out our 2021 series of workshops. These are hands-on workshops. Bring your laptop. We will create our own clear messaging to stand out from the competition and grow our businesses. Mark the date. So the first one coming out will be Tuesday, February the 9th at 7 p.m. I'll be sending out invites shortly, and we will work together to create your power introduction. Learn how to stand out in a crowded market. At this powerful event, Darlene Gudrie Butts, the owner of Clarity Project, who I will introduce momentarily, will break us out into breakout sessions to actually create our own networking introduction that sells you and use your why to stand out, incorporating your story to make selling effortless. So join our squad. We are all about success and breaking barriers. We look for the ceiling and we break through it. Not only do we help women win, we shine a spotlight every Monday on a female entrepreneur to help her own her future. And speaking of a woman who owns her own future, here she is. Darlene Gudrie Butts learned a valuable lesson at a very young age that clear communication is the key to creating the future you desire. Not only is she our guest speaker today, she will be our February 9th workshop coach. Please welcome Darlene from the Clarity Project. Welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Whitney.
You're welcome. Wow, that felt like a long introduction today.
I said, man, I sound really smart. Thank you.
Well, you are. So I'm really glad to have you today. So just wanted to check that my social media is running in the background. So thank you so much for being here. And it's interesting. It's a long wait that you and I were able to get together because you were referred to me last year and we were going to get together, and then bang, we had this lockdown. And what's interesting is that back then we froze, and now we're like, who cares, right? we now all just get to know each other over the camera, and it seems to work really well. And even though like I have never met you in person, I feel like you're a friend of mine and I trust you and I value your advice. So I'm just going to ask you a few questions here. So the very first question is around a conversation that we've been having now for a few months, and it's about intergenerational trauma or societal messages that we may have experienced in our lifetime that they either catapulted us in business or they created limiting beliefs. Can you talk to us about how that, what you experienced in your life?
Sure. Let's start off with a bang. No, hey, how you doing? Let's go to the deep stuff right away. I love it. And one of the things that we talked about earlier is the fact that many of the unknown beliefs that we have, the subconscious beliefs we have as adults, really start in childhood. And it's two ways that we're affected. One is on the psychology side, and one is on the financial actions that our parents took. So on the financial actions is like, were your parents savers? Did they teach you about money? Did they teach you the value of finding your passion and living your job? And the psychology part of it is, you're not good enough, you're stupid, or you're wonderful and you can do anything, and you really weren't wonderful and you can't do everything. Yeah. So for me as a child, I think that the lessons I learned, I was very, very fortunate. I had parents who really decided what they wanted, intended it, and saved for it. So I come from a family of 7 kids, and we took a major vacation every year. Oftentimes that was in a station wagon, not so comfortable. But the fact is that when I think it was grade 4 or grade 5, I was the first person in my class that ever went to Florida. Like, it was amazing. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. My dad worked and he wanted to travel. And so he did what he needed to do. So I think a really good lesson that I learned in childhood is you can do anything you want as long as you're willing to focus on it and prepare for it. So I was very fortunate. And my mom, God bless her, she was able to stretch a dollar like no other woman. And so I was very lucky that I had very positive money uh, mentors as parents.
Yeah.
And I think that if you don't, then what you need to do as an adult is you need to find that mentor now that's going to help you change that dynamic that you have so that you are not allergic to success. You can actually go after it and achieve it.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. So it sounds like your parents gave you some fabulous lessons, some fabulous teaching. That's really good. And any adversity there in your childhood that helped you formulate the next chapter?
Yes. And I mean, the title of our talk today is that adversity can be a catalyst for success. And I really feel like that happened to me because one of my worst days in my life actually molded me for success, believe it or not. And that is my father passed away when I was 9. And they had a very traditional marriage. And my mom took care of house and kids. My dad took care of work and finances. And so for my mom, she's 38, 7 kids between the ages of 5 and 18, is all of a sudden put in a situation where she's not only grieving her partner, but she's got to learn this whole other side of the household that she's never been taught to do. And it really, for me, the defining moment was before my dad passed away, we got our driveway paved. And a couple days after he passed away, the guys came to get payment. They wanted a check. And they had no idea that my dad passed away. And my mom didn't know how to write out a check. She was 38, had never, ever done it before. And as a 9-year-old, I can put myself back on, and if any of my siblings are watching, 273 Ross Ave, in the kitchen with my mom crying while her aunt, my Aunt Mill, taught her how to write out a check. And my mom was a suck it up buttercup kind of woman, super, super strong. So whenever she cried, you paid attention. And I thought in that moment, my 9-year-old, and I could take myself back to that moment, I decided I would never be in a position where the lack of knowledge made me vulnerable. And because of that, I have had a thirst for knowledge, often to the annoyance of my parents, my teachers, my spouse, anyone I work with. In addition to that is it really made me pay attention financially. So I ended up being a financial advisor for 25 years, and big part of that was that moment when I was 9, and I wanted to ensure that I knew everything there was for finances so that I was never in that situation.
Fabulous, fabulous. And that story, like that's a heartbreaking story, and it's a common story. We hear about so many adults who lost a parent in childhood, and of course nobody is ready for anything like that happens. And so you learned a very strong independence at a very young age, and those principles, those disciplines that you've learned, you've implemented them into your life today. So this advantage has brought you to some this disadvantage that happened to you has brought you to some significant advantage, and so you were a financial advisor, and then you've changed your business and you've aligned yourself. So how is tell us about the alignment that you have from this.
Sure, I'm happy to. Just before we move on, I really want people to understand that one of the biggest lessons, and something that I taught my clients throughout my career as a financial advisor, is both people in a relationship need to know about their numbers. They need to know about their financial situation. You don't have to both handle it, but you have to at least know the basics so that you're never in the situation that my mom was in. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, how did I go from being a financial advisor to being a business and communications coach?
Yeah.
And that happened through adversity. It seems to be a theme in my life. So in 2007, I was approached by somebody to build my own financial planning company. I was very, very successful in the largest financial institution in Canada. And so I was approached and we decided, okay, we're going to go out on our own. If we could have picked the exact wrong date to do it, we did. It was like the worst fall of 2007, opening up, everything fell apart in 2008, and my whole business blew up. And I was in the situation during this year that I was actually writing a book. It's called Lessons from the Depression, Eliminating Debt the Old-Fashioned Way. And the reason why I was writing it was because, one, my dream was always to be a published author. And two, I had clients ask me all the time for books on financial planning, on taking care of their budget. And no one felt like there was a book out there. So I was also trying to fit a need. So when our business completely imploded, all I had left was this book that I had written. And at that point in time, I didn't have any money for marketing. I didn't have any money to hire anyone. And I decided I was going to self-publish and just see what happened. And I ended up marketing the book to a best-selling status on my own before you could manipulate numbers on Amazon, because Amazon wasn't even in existence, I think, at that point in time. And so when that happened, people started asking me questions. How'd you get your book written? How did you manage to market it as a bestseller? I started coaching people about books. Then entrepreneurs, because at about 2010, 2011, it was really, really popular for entrepreneurs to write a book for credibility purposes.
Yeah.
We called it the big business card. So then I started coaching entrepreneurs and realized they didn't know the basic questions you should know as an entrepreneur. And that is who you are, what you do, whom you serve, why you're different, and why you do what you do. And that's why I started the Clarity Project, was because I understood that entrepreneurs have a lot of passion and they have a lot of vision, but they oftentimes have a really difficult time articulating what it is that they actually do, and talking to the right people in the right language in the right place. Yeah. And so that's what I do now, is I help them not only find that language and find the confidence and clarity in that language, but also get it out on their social media, their website, their emails, whatever it is that they want to do to communicate with their client.
Make it all congruent.
Yes.
Yes.
Very important.
It's true. Because business owners are full of ideas. We're creative and we create all sorts of stuff, and we leverage out to get help with staff and things. But we're like a helium balloon. You don't tie us down, we'll just blow away. So what the service that you offer is, it's just so needed, and especially now today, because when you look across on social, when you look at this person, what their message is across the three different platforms, they're not congruent. and so that message, and sometimes I wonder if sometimes an entrepreneur is afraid to say exactly who they are, versus if they're working at a company. Well, I work for Pepsi Cola and I sell Pepsi.
And there's also like the idea that you don't want to brag about yourself.
Yes.
But the fact is if you don't have to brag, but if you don't tell people exactly what you do, how you can serve them, they're not going to know. It's as simple as that. So I also have to work around that mindset of not bragging, and really being authentic, because there's the consistency portion. You need to be consistent in your messaging on platforms, across platforms. But there's also the confidence piece, is really having that confidence that you are really good at what you do and people are lucky to work with you. Because if you don't get to that point, there's enough people out there, people will be attracted to them. Yeah. So it's both mindset and really messaging that are the key components to having a really successful business.
Absolutely. And I guess it goes back really to your childhood, because the messaging between your mom and your dad, and those were traditional roles. There's nothing wrong with it, but the messaging back and forth isn't clear, and that's what that's become a skill now, just ingrained in you. So can you tell us about the Clarity Project? Tell us about the business you've built.
Sure. And from my childhood, I really did learn how to communicate, because with 9 people around the dinner table and your second youngest, you have to learn how to be really concise, very clear. You learn that you need a little humor for people to listen to you because everyone's trying to get their stories out there. And I kind of equate social media to my dinner table as a child, because that's really the way it is out in social media right now. Everyone's trying to grab for people's attention. So when clients come to me, they say, well, how can I get followers? How can I get people to engage with my posts? How do I get people to buy my program? And really it comes down to having that clarity, because it's really the clarity that breaks through the noise rather than anything else.
Yeah.
So what I did was I have now built up a business where it's coaching around really getting those 5 questions clearly answered. And I have had a lot of clients say to me, 15 minutes into our first call, oh my God, like I get it already. Like we don't even have to do anything else, because I help them give perspective. And it's very difficult to have perspective on your own business.
Yeah, true.
And here's the best example. Anybody out there that has a business right now and you're dealing with clients and it is something that you need as well, is how many times have you been able to help a client like that, but when it comes to you, you really struggle? It's because you can't have perspective. We have all of those thoughts going on in our head. We're emotionally attached to certain things. So by having a coach to take you through the clarity pieces, then what you can do is really own who you are, like really own it. I love when my clients get to the point where they own it. They know they have it. I mean, you have a gift, Whitney, in the financial industry, and also a gift for women and helping to empower them, not only financially, but in their personal lives. That's a gift that you're sharing, and you know it. You know you have it, and you enjoy it, and you love being out there. But there's a lot of people who come to me and they want to do this, but they don't think they're good enough. And we talked about that mindset, right? Not feeling like they're good enough. And when I can get to that client to that place where they're like, of course I'm good enough. I can do this. I can really impact people's lives. And then they can articulate to their client, I'm going to take you from here to there in your transformation. Then clients are sitting there going, you understand me. You heard me. You've seen me. And that really bridges the know, like, and trust component of business. Because as soon as they get this feeling that you really care about them, you really see them, you hear them, you really want to help them, that know, like, and trust factor just goes through the roof. Yeah. So bringing their confidence, bringing their ability to articulate their business, having their clients being able to hear them is my joy in life.
It's so necessary because it's like the advertising has changed, like in the old days, the TV was talking to us, the radio was talking to us, the newsprint, the magazines were speaking to us. And now we have social media speaking to us, but it's a different language. And people need to realize, like, I am still, Darlene, getting people sending me stuff in my inbox. Like I had a woman write to me about, she's looking at some of my things and she starts a conversation with me. And the next thing you know, she's asking me if I would like to, I guess it was a network marketing thing. And that, do you want to make money in your sleep? And I'm thinking like, this ditz didn't even look at who I am. So I just responded to her saying, I probably earn more money than any person you've ever met in your entire lifetime. So people that are doing that nonsense, knock it off, because you've been in business I've been in business for 35 years, and I can tell you, I've never hit on people to do business with me. I just walk the walk, talk the talk. You want to learn something, I've got something to offer. So, and I love, so what you're doing is you are helping with that message. You're helping with the vocabulary today that is different than what we used to have, that subliminal advertising that came across with, magazine, print, etc. Now, we have to find a different way. And obviously it's really goes back to old school. If you go back decades, it was about knowing your client, right? Like get to know who you're speaking to.
Yeah. And I think because now we have access to everyone around the world, some people get a little crazy and think I can talk to everybody in the world. But the fact is, how many different languages do we have? Just, you're talking about German, Italian, French, English, but in beyond that, you also have language inside of a language. So how millennials talk is completely different than how I talk as a baby boomer, right? Most people who are trying to court millennials feel free to swear in their advertising, because millennials, that it's not like when we were kids and we got our mouths washed out with soap. It's a completely different dynamic. And I think there's a lot of millennials who that's just part of their language. But if I was trying to really target somebody who was 65 and I started swearing through all of my copy, they would be turned off. So it's understanding those different areas of language that, and the words and the phrases that your particular audience uses so that they can actually hear you. If not, it's like you're speaking Chinese to somebody who speaks English. They're never going to be able to hear you, and you're not going to be able to get the sale. But I have to say, out of all the messaging, and I can give you some real kick-ass messaging. If you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe you can deliver, no messaging or marketing program will ever work for you. So you have to start with you. Who are you and what do you do? And then own that. And then the rest of it is knowing your audience and speaking their language.
I love it. I love it. And I mean, you could speak this all day long, like you really teach some social etiquette out there. And you know, just before I get on to the next question, I just look at what, you know, so when I started on social media, it was more about, you know, family pictures and things like that. I think a lot of us started out like that. And then, you know, then you start branching off into other things. But I've met so many people and become really good friends with people on social media, and who I've met, like, you know, done things, you know, flown across Canada with them, like done all sorts of cool trips and things together. And I've also bought a lot of stuff from social media. So of course I do like to buy local, but I also like to support local entrepreneurs and buy from them too. So you know, for people that are watching, if they're wondering, does the social media work? Does it work for somebody who's already been in practice for a long time? The answer is yes. Okay, it's yes all day long. It's your message. It's what you were saying, Darlene, about, you know, getting to know. People need to get to know you. They want to know who you are before you start inboxing them with your nonsense, which just gets you blocked. So so anyways, so what's next for you, Darlene? Because you're so talented in so much creativity. So what's on the block for you for 2021 and 2022?
Well, I just found out last night I'm now an international best-selling author, as one of the books that I was involved in.
Wow.
Business Life and Universe just went, Amazon went international bestseller, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Not something that I expected to do. But for me, really my focus over the next couple of years is I really want to help leaders. So one of the things that my mission on life is to light as many candles as I possibly can. And there's only one of me, so me lighting candles one at a time, I'm finding I'm just a little bit too impatient. So now I've really started to step up and work with leaders who have their own group that they can light their candles with, because I really want to empower people to follow their passion.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what your passion is, you can make money at it. You can name anything. You can name shoemaker, you can name tin maker. I don't care. There's somebody who's making over $1 million doing whatever you dream to do. And so if I can get everyone out there just shining their light as bright as possible, then we can make a real difference in the world. So I've kind of changed my focus a little bit into really getting into leaders, CEOs, and really helping them get their confidence, their messaging, their leadership skills to the point where they are really impacting those that they are leading.
Awesome. That is terrific. That's absolutely terrific. Because that's, I think you've hit the nail on the head exactly where we're at today, because the leaders it's changing, and they don't know about this, or they don't know how to. Let's put it this way: they don't know how to. How do you do this? How do you get your message out, and how do you affect? And I am watching a few people effectively doing it, and I cheer anybody on who is in a leadership role to do this. Because it's all about helping and growing other people. So I'm really excited for you to light my candles. So
Absolutely. And part of that is a lot of leaders today have made it up through the ranks of not being emotional, of being more practical, more focused, more intellectual. And I think the best leaders of today, and we can both probably name 4 or 5 people where they have that nice balance of the emotional, the authentic part of them, and the intellectual and focused part of them. And that together is really what's going to change the world. So I really just trying to encourage people in leadership is to open up and be authentic and share their stories and share their emotion, because it gives the people below them the permission to do the same.
yes.
And it's really, people want to do business with people who are authentic. We're done with the fake plastic crap. And now it's about being real. So if I can get the leadership to be real, encourage their employees, their team members to be real, what a difference in the world is going to make.
We need it more today than ever. We really do. And it's going to be another 9 months of, we're disconnected, and we need community. And it is true. We need to speak out and share our truth, and share what drives us, because we're all looking at what somebody else has. And how do I get that? I remember years ago when I was probably around 20, I bought my first house when I was 20, and I'm 56 now, and I've always owned quite a lot of real estate, multiple properties at once. But I remember buying furniture secondhand, and at this house on Lakeshore in Mississauga, and they were selling off this beautiful teak stuff that for like pennies on the dollar kind of thing, because they didn't care. They were getting into a whole bunch of new stuff. So I was like, how did you get this? Like, how did you get this rich? How'd you get this big house, And he told me, it's just save some money. And I bought in a down market, and for a 20-year-old, right? That seed was planted because I was in my starter home. And then markets were changing. This is going back 36 years ago. And I copied him. And I bought a beautiful big ass house in Port Credit with a massive property, and the market was not it was still in a rut, and I seized an opportunity. And so I always share with people, look for opportunities, and look to share your message. And if you can't share your message, hire somebody like Darlene, who she does this all day long. So she knows how to do it. Can I share my message? Sure, I'm sharing my message all the time. Can I share as effectively as Darlene? No, I can't, because I'm left-brained. I do math for a living. I build wealth. I mean, that's what I do for myself. I did that. I do that for others. So all day long, my mind is about build. And it's not about words and descriptions and stuff like that. Mine is more about connecting with clients, getting to really know them, find out what's bothering them, and fix that problem. So, and I think we're probably all the same way. We need a professional who has that vocabulary, who can tap in and say, okay, you know what? Let's get this message out, right? And let's get it out clearly, because there's nothing worse than asking somebody what they do for a living, and then there's 30 seconds like, I can't figure out what this person is talking about. Like, just selfish or what? What is it? So, Darlene, thank you so much. I mean, and I'm so excited. So we're having the workshop on February the 9th, and I'm really excited that you are offering this time to us to help people. And we want to help women win, and we want to help everybody win. But that will be a Wallet to Wealth event, and so we're really looking forward to that event. So we'll get a sign up sheet going fairly soon. And so, Darlene, what would you like to say just to close off for today?
Well, first, I'd just like to thank you for having this conversation. I'm so glad, Zena Appleby, if you're out there, cheers to you for connecting us.
Yeah.
That even though it took a year, I'm so glad we've had some really great conversations. And I just echo what you say, is that it's really important. You only have one life, live yours
Yeah.
for you in doing what you want to do. And if you don't know how to go about that, hire a coach, hire somebody to help you. Each stage of my life, I've had a coach and who's helped me and gave me the perspective that I needed and gave me the encouragement that I needed. So just go for it. It doesn't matter where you are, how old you are, what you've done in the past, is you have a whole future there. Why don't you choose for you?
Yeah, I love it. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And so glad that we got together, and I'm so glad that we'll be back doing our workshop on February the 9th. And look forward to some fascinating new posts from me. From Darlene and I are going to be working on some stuff together. And we'll see everybody next Monday at 10 a.m. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a great day, everyone. Good week too. It's Monday.
Yes.
Let's do this.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard to remember what day it is during lockdown, but yeah, Monday. See you next week.
Okay, take care.
Bye-bye.